What's up guys, it's Manga Time once again. I'm here today to bring you my review of Bleach 585, The Headless Staff 4. And this is a pretty exciting chapter actually, there's quite a lot to discuss, so I'm just going to get right into it because otherwise this video is going to get pretty long, I think. So it starts off with Ichigo staring at the great pillar of light that shot up out of the tower that ended the last chapter. Now, a lot of people theorised what Yhwach was planning. I managed to call it, amongst a bunch of other predictions, to be fair. But basically, Yhwach's suddenly able to pronounce his voice to Ichigo, so Ichigo can hear him. And apparently Ichigo is the one who guided them to the light. A lot of people theorise it was either Ichigo or Uryu, or just the souls of the people that were killed anyway because of Yhwach's abilities. Anyway, Yhwach says, I am grateful. And there's a lot of parallels to Aizen in this chapter, or at least there's a couple anyway. And Ichigo's like, what do you mean? And then the first parallel comes in the form of that massive panel of Yhwach's finger like that. That's exactly what Aizen did, pretty much, except Yhwach's pointing to the sky this time. And he says, thanks to you, I can now invade the Soul King's palace. That's pretty cool. I think it's interesting that this motive has kind of come out of nowhere. Presumably this is Yhwach's motive for the entire battle. And then we get some very, very interesting information. Apparently the clothes Ichigo's wearing, and presumably Renji, Byakuya and Rukia as well, are the king's key, and that they're knitted and sewn from the Zero Division's bones and hair, which is kind of creepy. So apparently there's 72 barriers between the Royal Palace and the Sternritter, and that the clothes break through them. And they protect you from the friction. However, by doing this, you leave the barriers open for 6,000 seconds. Now, I don't know why the Zero Division would have such a glaring defense like breach, but they do. And something else that's a little bit strange. This naturally causes Yhwach to chase you. Causes Ichigo to chase after Yhwach. It seems very unlike Yhwach, in my opinion, to announce his plans like that to Ichigo. I don't know what the benefits are for him to do that, unless he's got some other plan in the wings. Because now Ichigo's going to come after him, whereas beforehand Ichigo was just fighting the Sternritter. Anyway, Ichigo chases him, but he gets blindsided by Meninas, who smashes him into a wall and through a bunch of buildings. And, she's like, to think you'd have the gall to go after His Majesty, even though we have you surrounded. And then basically she tries to punch him again, but Ichigo jumps out of the way. And he's suddenly attacked from behind by Nanana, who must be Nanana the Unafraid, since it's the second time he's blindly leaped after an opponent who's considerably stronger than himself. That's not my actual prediction. I actually have no idea what the hell Nanana's letter stands for. Anyway, he says die, and he tries to attack Ichigo. Interesting that he uses his fists. He goes in, he goes like that and kind of tries to hit him like this. But Ichigo gets round him, and Nana's like, whoa. But it's cool to see that Ichigo's not trying to kill any of them. He kind of does, but he's not actively trying to attack them. So as Ichigo gets past Nanana, Colonel Sanders arrives, still no name, and he basically has his gun right up behind Ichigo's face. So it's cool to see that Colonel Sanders is still a beast. And we get even more proof of that now, because he tries to shoot Ichigo. He misses because Ichigo dodges, but then Ichigo tries to attack him. He's the only one Ichigo tries to attack. And Ichigo basically tries to cut him upwards with his sword, but Colonel Sanders dodges it. So yeah, Colonel Sanders is a beast. But then Basby grabs onto the back of Ichigo's collar and tries to use Burner Finger 1 on him. And it's at this point where Ichigo's in a bit of trouble. But he manages to survive because Renji arrives. And he uses Zabimaru to get in between them. Now, I thought this was Shinji at first. I thought Shinji was arriving to finish off Basby. Apparently not. Renji's like, you owe me one, Ichigo. Kind of reminiscent of when Renji saved Ichigo from the Exequias that time, but it kind of has to be, I suppose. And Renji's like, I'll keep these guys busy. you need to go and defeat Yhwach. Basically, that's what this entire chapter is all about. It's that Ichigo needs to get to Yhwach. So Ichigo blasts off. Bazz-B and Nanana give chase. Now, however, this kind of wave goes over the top of them, around in front of them, and Bazz-B and Nanana stop fast. A bunch of Shinigami arrive. We get this cool little panel of all the Sternritter's faces. Pepe's there. I don't know why he hasn't done anything this chapter. And then Renji says, don't make me repeat myself. And we get an awesome double-page spread to finish the chapter of Rukia, Renji, Hisagi, Byakuya, Yumichika, and Ikkaku. And Renji says, all of you are going to be staying here. And that's the end of the chapter. But there is a lot to talk about. So let's start with, that double-page spread at the end. Really? Hisagi, Ikkaku, and Yumichika? Soul Society is not exactly bringing their A game. They're going to get their arses handed to them, and if they don't, then I call bullshit. I call serious bullshit if they don't get their arses handed to them. We're bound to see Hisagi Bankai. We're bound to see Ikkaku's probably going to use it. He's going to go over his little complex that he's got. And Yumichika might use Bankai because Kubo has hinted that Yumichika would have a Bankai if any of them had a Bankai. So that's possible. I still think they'll get their asses handed to them. Renji and Rukia, I think, will lose as well. Because I don't think they can win again. They've already beaten Asnot and Master Masculine together. So I don't think... If they win again, that's just stupid. They're just unstoppable. Byakuya, I think, could possibly win his fight, only because he hasn't had a fight since he got his ass kicked by Az. So, yeah, that's a possibility. As for who they fight, I think, because there's only 6 Shinigami and 8 Sternritter, there's going to have to be some double teaming by the Sternritter. So it's a possibility that maybe, because I certainly don't think Rukia and Renji are capable of taking on more than one of these Sternritters, unless they're Femritters, perhaps. But even they've proved themselves to be pretty worthy adversaries. But yeah, no, I think Byakuya could fight Pepe. I've thought for ages that Byakuya will fight Pepe, because Pepe's he's got his eye on his staff and he seems to be a bit magical, and they're all the kind of characters that Byakuya always fights. I'm not necessarily sure I would like that. It would probably give us a good fight, because Byakuya's fights generally are, but I don't want to see Pepe get killed off so soon. He's supposed to be a beast, as said by Askin. So yeah, that would be disappointing. Byakuya could fight Sanders, but then I think Sanders is possibly being safe for Shinsui again. Speaking of which, where the hell is Shinsui? Where's Ukitake? Where is Shinji? I mean, these people are probably all going to arrive, I suspect, because I don't think the characters that have arrived right now are going to win. I don't think they're going to win. Obviously, the Fullbringers and the Grimjo, etc. need to come in as well. This could be a chance for them all to come in, but I'm not really sure. Another reason why this could be a chance for them to come in, though, is because Yhwach's already going after the Royal Realm. That's a lot earlier than I thought, and unless Kubo just hasn't been documented in the days, we're still on day 2 of 9. So that's crazy. So I think this battle here could potentially go on for quite a while. Ichigo may get stopped by another Sternritter that we don't know of yet. I think that's possible. Otherwise he's just going to reach Uryu and that lot like that. So, that's my alarm going off. Shut up. There we go. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I just kind of don't think these guys are going to win. I think it's more likely that other people are going to arrive and the fight's going to last a while. I think we'll probably get Colonel Sanders, we'll get his name, and I think we'll get his and Pepe's letters pretty soon, and probably Nanana's. We'll find out what Nanana does as well. I found it interesting that Bazz-B was the only one to use Volstendig when attacking Ichigo, which to me says that he's the weakest of the lot. That's probably a bit of a generalization though, but I think it's interesting all the same. So yeah, that's interesting point. I kind of feel like Sanders and that lot are going to be fought by the senior captains when they arrive. Oh, they hope they arrive anyway. So my next point is still kind of on the subject of battles. If Yhwach makes it into the Royal Realm, which I'm 100% certain he will, because we know the Royal Guard now. There's no reason to keep them a secret, and this is the perfect opportunity to get to see the Soul King. So yeah, Yhwach's going to get to the Royal Realm. So possibly what will happen is Ichigo will make it to him, and then maybe Uryu will stop him. But then that doesn't make any sense, because we know that Uryu's plan is basically just to kill Yhwach, so I don't know why he's going to get it over and done with. So it's more likely, I think, Hashwolf will stop Ichigo. They might actually get a fight. But Yhwach's going to make it to the Royal Realm, no doubt about it. When he's there, though, what's going to happen? That's going to be interesting. Presumably they're going to fight the Royal Guard. I think Yhwach's going to take some Sternritter with him. So he's going to take Uryu and Hashwolf with him. And I think this is probably what Askin was referring to the other day the other week when he was like, you know, am I going to get chosen or not? Do I have a choice or not? You know, I think that's to do with whether he's going to the Royal Guard or Royal Realm or not. And I think he probably will. So if Askin gets to fight a Royal Guard, that'd be awesome, and then fight someone else afterwards. Because I do see the majority of the Royal Guard losing, just because I think they have to from a plot standpoint. I think the Royal Guard have to lose. I see Yhwach maybe even killing one of them. Hopefully not after. Hopefully after they get to show all their cool stuff, of course. But speaking of Royal Guard, I can't not mention him. Aizen. This is definitely build up. There's no reason why Aizen won't be riding on Yhwach's coattails on the way to the Royal Realm. Now, you know, you might say Aizen's still in prison. I don't think so, because Soul Society got replaced by the Vandenreichs, so for me, Aizen could easily be out of prison, and he could easily be following them into the Royal Realm. That would be awesome. I don't really know what he would try and do. I mean, obviously he'd probably try and kill the Soul King, but I don't know what he'd try and do. I think Soul King will be revealed to be a villain of some kind. But that's all for future chapters, I think, because I'm pretty sure we're going to spend at least the next month on this fight with the Sternritter and Byakuya, etc. So that's it, really, for this week, guys. My panel of the week is 100% the last page. It's a really nice panel, actually, featuring a lot of characters, and it looks really good. Byakuya looks very cool, actually, I have to admit. And it's going to get a solid 9 from me, actually. I think it's a really enjoyable chapter, exciting build up for the Royal Realm, and hopefully this is build up that isn't going to be squandered like it was in Fate Karakura Town arc, because, you know, I was mega excited about going to the Royal Realm then. Never happened. Aizen never even made it, but I'm pretty sure Yhwach will. So keep a lookout for that, guys. As always, don't forget to subscribe to my videos. That'd be great. Give the video a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. But apart from that, guys, I shall see you next week. Bye.